Someone insults you. Maybe they mock your appearance, question your intelligence, disrespect your work, laugh at something you care about. And almost instantly, something rises inside you, the urge to defend yourself, to explain, to prove them wrong, to hurt them back. But the Stoics understood something most people never learn. An insult only has power when you agree to carry it. A person can throw words at you, but they cannot force those words into your mind. That part is still yours. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the mind has the ability to decide what things mean. And this is where your freedom begins, because the insult is not what wounds you. Your judgment about the insult does. Think about it. Someone calls you foolish. If you know yourself well, why should their opinion disturb you? If they are wrong, then their words contain no truth. And if they are right, even partially, then perhaps they have accidentally shown you something you can improve. Either way, anger is unnecessary. This is the Stoic secret. Do not immediately fight the insult. Examine it. Ask yourself, is this true? Is this useful? Is this person worth giving my peace to? Most insults disappear the moment you stop treating them like emergencies. The problem is that many of us react before we think. Someone says one disrespectful thing, and suddenly our entire nervous system belongs to them. Our heart beats faster, our thoughts race, we rehearse responses, we imagine what we should have said. Hours later, the person who insulted us may already be enjoying their evening. But we are still arguing with them inside our head. Who really won? The person who spoke the words, or the person who allowed those words to occupy their mind for the rest of the day? Epictetus taught that people are disturbed not simply by events, but by the judgments they make about those events. An insult is just sound until you give it meaning. Someone says, "You're useless." You can hear those words and think, "How dare they say that about me?" Or you can think, "That is their judgment. It does not define me." Same words, different mind, different life. This does not mean becoming passive. It does not mean accepting abuse. And it does not mean allowing people to disrespect your boundaries. Stoicism is not weakness. Sometimes the correct response is to speak firmly. Sometimes it is to leave. Sometimes it is to distance yourself permanently. But there is a difference between responding from strength and reacting from wounded pride. One protects your dignity. The other gives control of your emotions to another person. And that difference changes everything. Imagine someone intentionally trying to provoke you. They expect anger. They expect defensiveness. They expect you to lose control. But instead, you look at them calmly. You do not rush to explain yourself. You do not compete. You do not throw another insult back. You simply remain composed. What happens? They lose access to you. Because people can only control your reaction when your reaction is predictable. If disrespect automatically produces anger, then anyone who understands this can manipulate you. They only need to press the right button. The Stoic removes the button, not by becoming emotionless, but by creating space between the insult and the response. That small space is where self-mastery lives. The next time someone insults you, do not immediately answer. Wait, even for 2 seconds. Observe what happens inside you. Notice the heat, the tension, the urge to speak. Then ask yourself, what response would I respect tomorrow? Not 5 seconds from now, tomorrow. Because anger wants immediate satisfaction. Wisdom thinks about consequences. A clever comeback may feel good for 10 seconds, but maintaining your dignity can give you peace for much longer. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that difficult people were part of life. He expected selfishness, arrogance, ignorance, dishonesty, not because he hated humanity, but because he understood reality. And when you expect imperfect people to behave imperfectly, you are less shocked when they do. Much of our anger comes from surprise. I cannot believe they said that. I cannot believe they treated me this way. But why not? Humans are emotional. Some are insecure. Some are jealous. Some speak before thinking. Some insult others because hurting someone temporarily makes them feel powerful. When you understand this, insults begin to reveal more about the speaker than the target. A peaceful person rarely spends their day trying to humiliate strangers. A secure person rarely needs to constantly prove superiority. A fulfilled person usually has little interest in tearing others down. So sometimes, instead of asking, "Why are they insulting me?" ask, "What does their need to insult me reveal about them?" That question creates distance, and distance creates clarity. There is another Stoic practice that is extremely powerful. Learn to laugh at yourself. Not cruelly, not from low self-esteem, but from freedom. If someone discovers one of your imperfections and you already accept it, what weapon do they have? Seneca understood that a person who can tolerate jokes about themselves becomes difficult to humiliate. Suppose someone says, "You talk too much," and perhaps sometimes you do. You could become offended, or you could smile and say, "You may have a point." Suddenly the insult has nowhere to go. You did not collapse. You did not fight. You simply refused to become defensive. That is confidence. People often confuse confidence with always appearing strong, but real confidence can admit imperfections. It can say, "Yes, I make mistakes. Yes, I have weaknesses. Yes, there are things I still need to learn." And because you already know these things, nobody can shock you by pointing them out. Self-awareness removes ammunition from your enemies. But what if the insult is completely false? Then remember this: a lie does not become true because someone says it loudly. If someone walked past you and shouted, "You have green skin," would you spend the rest of the day proving that your skin is not green? Probably not. Why? Because you know the claim is absurd. So why do we sometimes spend hours defending ourselves against other false judgments? Because part of us still needs approval. And this is where Stoicism goes deeper. The more dependent you are on praise, the more vulnerable you become to insults. If compliments control your mood, criticism will control it too. They are two sides of the same chain. The Stoic seeks something more stable: character. Ask yourself, did I act with integrity? Did I do what I believed was right? Did I control what was mine to control? If the answer is yes, then someone else's opinion becomes secondary. Not meaningless, but secondary. You can listen to criticism without becoming owned by it. You can consider feedback without surrendering your identity, and you can hear an insult without automatically becoming insulted. There is enormous freedom in that. Because once you stop needing everyone to understand you, approve of you, or respect you, something changes. You become quieter, less defensive, more selective. You stop explaining yourself to people who have already decided to misunderstand you. You stop fighting battles that have no reward. You stop answering every disrespectful comment as though your reputation depends on it. Because reputation is what others think you are. Character is what you actually are. And the Stoic protects character first. So when someone insults you, remember, you have choices. You can attack back. You can spend hours thinking about it. You can desperately try to change their opinion. Or you can ask, is there anything useful here? Take the lesson if there is one. Discard the rest. Then continue with your life. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every misunderstanding deserves an explanation. Not every person deserves access to your emotional energy. Sometimes the strongest response is a calm sentence. Sometimes it is a boundary. Sometimes it is silence. And sometimes it is simply walking away without carrying their words with you. Because the goal is not to win the argument. The goal is to remain master of yourself. Anyone can stay calm when people praise them. Anyone can feel confident when they are respected. The real test begins when someone tries to make you feel small. That moment reveals whether your peace belongs to you or to whoever speaks the loudest. So the next time someone insults you, remember the Stoic secret. They control the words. You control what those words become inside you. Let them speak. Let them judge. Let them misunderstand. Your task is simpler. Guard your character. Guard your judgment. Guard your peace. And never hand someone else the power to decide the condition of your mind, because the person who cannot be easily provoked cannot be easily controlled. And the person who has mastered their response has already won the only battle that truly matters, the battle within themselves. But there is another layer to this. Sometimes the insult that hurts the most does not come from a stranger. It comes from someone close to you, a friend, a co-worker, a family member, someone whose opinion once mattered. And when the words come from someone we care about, silence becomes much harder, because now it feels personal. You think, they know me, how could they say that? But this is precisely where Stoic discipline becomes most valuable. You cannot control whether someone understands you. You cannot control whether they appreciate what you have done. You cannot control the story they tell about you. You can only control whether their story becomes your story. And sometimes the greatest act of self-respect is refusing to defend yourself against someone committed to seeing you incorrectly. You do not have to attend every argument you are invited to. You do not have to correct every false assumption. You do not have to prove your goodness to someone determined to question it. There comes a point when explaining yourself stops being communication and becomes begging for understanding. The Stoic does not beg. He speaks when speaking serves a purpose. He remains silent when silence protects his peace, and he walks away when staying would require him to abandon his dignity. Remember this, not every insult requires an answer. Sometimes your calm is the answer. Sometimes your absence is the answer. Sometimes continuing your life without changing direction is the most powerful answer you can give. Because what does an insulting person often want? A reaction. They want evidence that their words reached you. They want to see anger in your face. They want to hear your voice rise. They want you to lose your composure so they can feel that, for one moment, they controlled you. Do not give them that satisfaction. This does not mean pretending you feel nothing. You may feel hurt. You may feel angry. You may even think of 10 things you want to say. Feel it, observe it, but do not immediately obey it. An emotion is not a command. Anger can knock on the door without being invited inside. You can notice the desire for revenge without acting upon it. This is the discipline Marcus Aurelius practiced repeatedly, not the elimination of emotion, the mastery of response. And every insult gives you an opportunity to practice. Instead of thinking, how can I hurt them back? Ask, how can I leave this moment with my character intact? That question changes everything, because now your goal is no longer victory over another person. Your goal is victory over yourself. And this is much harder. It is easy to insult someone who insults you. It is easy to become cruel when someone is cruel. It is easy to lower yourself to the level of the person provoking you. What is difficult? Remaining composed, remaining thoughtful, remaining yourself. Anyone can return anger for anger. Strength is being able to receive anger without becoming its reflection. Think of a clear lake. Throw a stone into it and the surface becomes disturbed. But eventually, the water becomes still again. The stone does not decide the nature of the lake. In the same way, another person's words may disturb you temporarily. That is human, but you decide how long the disturbance remains. Do not replay the insult 20 times. Do not build imaginary arguments in your head. Do not allow one sentence spoken in 10 seconds to steal 10 hours of your life. When your mind begins replaying it, say to yourself, "It happened, it is finished, I do not need to continue it." This is one of the most important forms of emotional discipline, because sometimes the person who insulted you only hurts you once. Then you hurt yourself repeatedly by remembering it. Again and again and again. You imagine what you should have said. You imagine proving them wrong. You imagine the perfect comeback. But every replay keeps you emotionally connected to the person you claim you want freedom from. Release it, not because they deserve forgiveness, not because what they did was acceptable, but because your mind deserves peace. There will always be people who misunderstand you, people who underestimate you, people who laugh at you, people who criticize decisions they could never understand because they have never lived your life. Let them. Their opinion is their responsibility. Your character is yours. And remember something else. You do not need to appear powerful. You need to become powerful. There is a difference. The person obsessed with appearing strong must constantly defend their image. Every joke becomes a threat. Every disagreement becomes disrespect. Every criticism becomes an attack. But the person who is truly secure does not need to win every social battle. They can allow someone else to have the last word. They can walk away while the other person still believes they won. Because the Stoic asks a different question, not who looked stronger, but who remained in control of themselves. That is the victory that matters. Suppose someone insults you in front of others. This can be especially difficult because now pride becomes involved. You feel people watching. You fear that silence will make you look weak. So you feel pressure to respond. But ask yourself, who decided that losing control is strength? Anyone can shout. Anyone can insult. Anyone can create a scene. Self-command is rarer. A calm person does not need to perform confidence. Their composure speaks for them. Sometimes one quiet sentence is enough. I don't see it that way. Or, you're entitled to your opinion. Or simply, all right, then move on. There is tremendous power in refusing to participate in unnecessary conflict. And if someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries, Stoicism does not require endless tolerance. Distance yourself, reduce access, speak clearly, leave if necessary. You can protect yourself without hatred. You can set boundaries without revenge. You can remove someone from your life without spending the next 5 years carrying resentment toward them. That is another form of freedom, because hatred is still attachment. If you constantly think about the person who hurt you, they still occupy space in your mind. The opposite of love is not always hate. Sometimes it is indifference. You remember what happened, you learn from it, but you no longer need anything from the person. Not an apology, not regret, not recognition, not revenge. You simply continue. And perhaps this is the deepest Stoic response to insult. Become so grounded in who you are that another person's opinion becomes information, not identity. Listen if there is wisdom in it. Correct yourself if necessary, but never allow another person's bitterness to become your self-image. You are responsible for your conduct, not their interpretation of it. So tomorrow, someone may criticize you, someone may laugh at you, someone may speak behind your back, someone may deliberately try to provoke you. When that moment arrives, remember, this is not merely an insult, it is training. An opportunity to practice patience, an opportunity to practice restraint, an opportunity to discover whether you truly control your mind or merely control it when life is comfortable. Anyone can practice philosophy in silence. The real test comes when another person gives you a reason to abandon it. That is when you remember, I do not control their mouth, I control mine. I do not control their judgment, I control mine. I do not control whether they respect me. I control whether I respect myself. And I will not sacrifice my character simply because another person sacrificed theirs. So let them speak, let them laugh, let them misunderstand you, let them believe whatever they choose. You have something more important to protect than your image, your inner peace. And once you understand this, insults begin to lose their power. The words may still reach your ears, but they no longer reach the deepest part of you, because you finally understand. No one can make you feel small without your participation. No one can drag you into chaos without your cooperation, and no one can control your mind unless you surrender it. The Stoic secret to dealing with insults is not having the perfect comeback. It is reaching the point where you no longer need one. Stay calm, keep your dignity, take the lesson if there is one. Leave the poison with the person who brought it, and continue walking. Because sometimes the most powerful response to disrespect is a peaceful mind that refuses to be disturbed.